Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Left Konoha, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Naruto was inside Konoha, the fight apparently over. He saw several Anbu nearby, and the spiky-haired man with them. Jiraiya looked over at where Naruto suddenly appeared, looking a bit shocked at his appearance. Naruto smiled stupidly, and then fainted from exhaustion and hunger. Jiraiya saw him smile for some stupid reason and then just collapsed. He leapt away from the group to check on the boy. When he got there, however, he didn't have anything to worry about. He had just fainted from exhaustion, and by the feral and obnoxiously loud growl he heard from the kid's stomach, hungry too. Jiraiya just chuckled and picked him up to bring to the hospital. When he got there, Kakashi was standing outside, reading the book he wrote. He put it away when Jiraiya approached him, with a boy over his shoulder. Kakashi perked an eyebrow and waited for an explanation. Jiraiya motioned for him to follow and went inside. Kakashi was surprised when he saw that Naruto was the one that was slung over his shoulder. Jiraiya gave Naruto to a nurse to be checked over and taken care of, and then sat down at some chairs to explain. We wondered why the invasion suddenly stopped, because I knew that Akatsuki doesn't give up easily. Just then, Naruto appeared out of nowhere and gave me such a stupid grin before collapsing. It looks like he fainted from exhaustion and hunger. Kakashi nodded, now understanding where the boy disappeared to. A thought came to him, do you think he met up with Itachi? It would explain why he got tired so fast, besides being hungry. Jiraiya nodded, staying silent. Thoughts raced through his mind, and he tried to settle them down. Now that the boy was in a room to recover, he really didn't need to worry. But something was bugging him, and he couldn't place his finger on it. Why did they stop the invasion after Naruto escaped? Did they have plans? Kakashi was wondering the same thing while he sat in a chair near his favorite author of Ika Ika Paradise. He wasn't going to read it yet, because something was nagging at him, too. The boy had to be strong if he did meet up with Itachi and survive, or escaped. Naruto woke up in a brightly lit room under some warm cloths. His clothes were gone and replaced with pure white ones. He looked around and saw his clothes in a pile nearby. He got up and quickly changed, silently noting how clean they looked and fresh they smell. Naruto went to the window and jumped out, landing with ease on the ground. He saw the pink-haired girl from earlier watching him. She came up and said, "Hi. When did you wake up?" "Just recently," Naruto answered, feeling a bit uncomfortable. "Why? How long have I been out?" "Almost 3 days. I heard that you were the one who beat up most of the Akatsuki members and drove them away. Is this true?" She looked at him, positively excited. Naruto was very uncomfortable now. He just nodded, looking for a way out without attracting her attention. All she could do to keep herself from hopping in the air from excitement was to ask Naruto, "Will you train me in Sasuke-kun?" Naruto was so taken aback from the question that he could only look away with annoyance. He had to answer, so he could only say, "Maybe." "One more question, how come you with those weird bracelets on your arms and legs? The doctors couldn't remove them at all." "They are." Naruto thought about not telling her, but then again, it might get her off his back for the time being. "Weights. Each weighs a certain amount so that I can gain some more speed. The longer I wear them, the stronger and faster I get until I get used to them. Once that happens, I make them heavier." Sakura nodded, understanding, and then gave him one more smile before running off with a small wave in goodbye. Naruto couldn't stay in this weird town, it was seriously creeping him out. He walked in one direction, casually scanning the shadows and streets for anyone nearby. When he found no one at all, he jumped up onto the roof and began to run for the wall, knowing he could jump over it easily. Just before he got to it, however, Kakashi and Jiraiya were standing there, waiting for him. They just appeared, looking serious. "We are not letting you go, Naruto," Kakashi said, looking at his orange book. Naruto just put on a sheepish smile. "Don't even think of using teleportation jutsu either," Jiraiya said, watching him carefully. Naruto kept grinning, knowing that his special jutsu will allow him freedom from these two. But first, he needed to make shadow clones for himself, so he'll be able to get away. The two frowned at him, clearly expecting something, but not this. Naruto did some hand signs and said, "Shadow clone jutsu." Immediately, a bunch of Narutos showed up, completely surrounded the two. All the Narutos grinned wolfishly and did some more hand signs and yelling, "S." All the Naruto clones became N females and each of them blew a K at them. Jiraiya's mouth dropped open by the sudden amount of N females around him. Kakashi only widened his eye in amazement, and a little scared at the sudden mass of N clones around him. Of course, Naruto escaped when he performed the shadow clone jutsu, and made his clones do his special jutsu he made up. Naruto stopped after a bit, then did the teleportation jutsu to go to the village of the waves to retrieve Zabuza and Haku. Naruto appeared 1 mile away from the village, and decided he needed some food. He listened carefully, unmoving, for any sounds. Soon he caught the scent and heard a rabbit. He grinned evilly and quickly caught his prey. Naruto skinned it and had a fire up in less than 10 minutes, his stomach growling loudly for the food to cook faster. He decided to relax a bit, since Kyuubi-sama wasn't there to tell him what to do. Ever since the last transformation, the boy hasn't been able to even feel Kyuubi-sama inside of him. This made Naruto very lonely, and he didn't like the feeling at all. He began to think about the village he was at earlier. He couldn't remember the name, and that was okay with him, because he didn't really like the place. The boy's thoughts suddenly turned to a certain pink-haired girl that wanted him, a beast, and a monster, to teach her. Naruto felt blood rushing to his cheeks when he thought of her smile, but frowned right away. He pushed the picture of her away and tried to sleep. His food wouldn't be ready for a while yet. Then his thoughts went, unbidden, to that Sasuke guy. There was something strange about him, but Naruto couldn't put his finger on it. He found it strange that the kid had no feeling whatsoever in his features. Maybe he had a bad past. Maybe he just hates the world, like Naruto does. Thoughts streamed through the boy's head, rendering him unable to sleep. It confused him to see the pink-haired girl being nice to him, especially when it was him who scared and knocked her out. Naruto scowled, muttering to himself, "Stupid humans." He closed his eyes, feeling himself relax internally, but alert externally. He wondered why every known dangerous group was suddenly interested in him. He tried everything possible to stay unnoticed, and out of prying sights that wished to use him. Kyuubi-sama even tried his best to make sure he wasn't going to before every single one of those bastards that hurt him. The sweet smell of cooking rabbit filled the air with a succulent smell that filled Naruto's nose with the strong scent of almost ready dinner. Naruto practically shot up in the air in anticipation. It would take another 10 or 15 minutes before he could dig in. He simply couldn't wait for the meat to cook fully, so he snatched it from the heat and bit into it with a gleam in his eye. In about 10 minutes, nothing was left of the rabbit but bones. Naruto was satiated. He didn't need to eat another one because one was good for his shrunken stomach. He got up and swiftly jumped onto a branch, leaving the now's fire behind. It was way too moist for the fire to spread, so he didn't have any problems. He knew that his appearance would startle Zabuza and Haku, but he hoped to be able to get rid of them easily. He didn't want laggards. He jumped over the wall and from roof to roof until he reached the big mansion. He took some cautionary procedures before clearing the wall. He tried to hide his ears and 8 tails from sight, and he put on some gloves to hide his claws. He couldn't do anything about his eyes, and he tried not to open his mouth, unnecessarily. He came to the mansion and opened the front door a bit. He called harshly, "Haku and Zabuza, meet me on the roof." He then shut the door fast and jumped up to the first window. Soon, he got to the roof and sat there, staring at the distance. Zabuza and Haku got there a couple of minutes later, having only finished eating when Naruto called them. He could see some relief on their faces and he put on a stupid smile. "Naruto, where were you? We thought they wouldn't let you go, but we waited nonetheless." Haku asked, seating himself beside Naruto. Zabuza did the same. A dangerous group called the Akatsuki invaded that miserable excuse for a village, looking for some stupid scroll. That Hokage guy let me out to help defeat those weaklings and I escaped afterwards. For some reason, they are looking for a way to harvest the power of Kyuubi-sama, but they stopped when they found out he was in me. Now I have to lay low for a bit, so I'm not captured. Even the bastard Orochimaru is after me. Naruto grumbled, obviously angered at the fact that he had to hide from his enemies that he so desperately wanted to s. His companions were silent, thinking over the predicament. Naruto only sighed in mock tiredness, trying to figure out a way out of this. He didn't want to endanger his new friends, but he didn't want to leave them. He liked having friends by his side, but as long as they were there, they would only end up being K. He sighed again and stood up saying, I decided to leave. You are not to follow. Just keep going on missions but try to find ones that don't involve K. Some old man, he chuckled a bit at this. When I am certain that my enemies are not following or pursuing me anymore, I will return. He walked forward a bit, and then turned, goodbye, my friends. I'll return soon. And he disappeared. Haku and Zabuza could only silently admire him. He was being chased by 3 different groups, who will most likely K him in the end, and he considered them friends. He never called them friends before, and it was quite a shock. They wanted to follow, but knew better than to disobey an order from Naruto when he gave one. It was like saying, here, you can K me, and give him a weapon. Zabuza chuckled and stared up into the heavens, looking for an answer to this problem that was centered on Naruto. And now, he was going to use his current knowledge on Naruto to bring him, Zabuza, more allies. Naruto felt even lonelier than before. He couldn't stay with them, he knew, but he just couldn't help but let the feeling come into his thoughts. He just wanted a nice life, where everyone was nice to him, and didn't call him monster, or ask, what are you? He kept running, hoping to find an answer to some of these problems. Naruto tried once again to contact Kyubi-sama, but he didn't respond. Didn't really expect him to anyway. Giving up on me that easily, are you, flesh bag? Naruto almost tripped on the next branch. He stopped and exclaimed happily in his mind, Kyubi-sama. Where were you? How come you wouldn't speak to me? How come those low-life assholes wanted me to remember some stupid things? How come? Silence, flesh bag. I will tell you all, but you have to calm down enough for me to even talk. Naruto settled down immediately, clearly excited about not being alone anymore. Now, when I forced the last transformation on you, I had wasted most of my chakra. I needed to heal and recover my reserves before making contact again. You obviously missed me, flesh bag, because you pounced when I said something. Naruto nodded his head vigorously before saying, I missed you a lot, Kyubi-sama. Those people at that village wouldn't let me go. I had to trick them in order to leave. I didn't know that spiky-haired man, Jiraiya, was such a Naruto heard a small chuckle. I could have told you that. Now, to the matter at hand. Orochimaru and that organization, Akatsuki, is looking for you. Neither of them are very good candidates for your power. They would both use you for the goals, leaving you to rest at any given time. The only choice left is going back to that blasted village. I know you don't like it, but you have no choice. Naruto groaned, but nodded saying, yes, Kyubi-sama. Naruto talked with Kyubi-sama all the way back to the village hidden in the leaves. He even got Kyubi-sama to admit that he missed Naruto, a bit. At this, the boy was glad, but didn't say any more on the topic. Naruto asked why his tails never moved, and Kyubi-sama answered, because they resent you. You must prove to them you are their masters and they will listen to your commands. Once this happens, they will protect you at any cost. I cannot make them listen to me when it comes to you they have to protect. Naruto only nodded, understanding. It didn't take him long afterwards to reach the village he resented. But instead of jumping over the walls, he went to the front gate, resulting in Jiraiya and Kakashi coming to get him. They brought him to the Hokage's office to talk. Why did you return? He asked, not looking up from his huge stack of papers in front of him. Do I have to have a reason? Be glad I did, sir. I don't cause havoc and destruction on your citizens and other villages. But I will leave and K as many people as I can if you put me under that blue thing again. The third didn't even look up, but nodded. Naruto felt that there was nothing left to say, so he shrugged and got ready to leave. We are going to keep a close eye on you. If you give us any indication to arrest you, we will put you into a room with that seal again. Am I understood? Naruto just yawned and left, not even answering him. The third just sighed and continued his work. Kakashi shrugged and followed Naruto, wanting to test his abilities. He caught up with Naruto and tapped him on the shoulder. Naruto looked at him in a bored manner and asked, "What do you want, old man?" Kakashi ignored the insult and said, "Why don't you come with me, so I can test your abilities? I am very interested." Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly, a clear sign that he didn't trust him. Kakashi waited patiently, his eye crinkled in a smile. Naruto stuck out his lips for a second and then said, "Sure, but bring those two weaklings with you so they could learn a thing or two." "What two? You mean Sasuke and Sakura?" "Yeah, whatever. Where are we going to go? This little spa is probably going to take out half of Konoha if we fight here." Kakashi only nodded, and then said, "Meet me outside the village, 1 mile northeast. That will give us some privacy and you won't tear up the place." Naruto nodded and disappeared. Kakashi didn't know what he was getting himself into. The boy was waiting for several minutes in the indicated spot before Kakashi did come. Behind him were the two brats that he said he wanted to come. Sakura ran over and said, "Hey, Naruto. Are you really going to fight with Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto felt a bit uncomfortable by the enthusiasm but nodded. This sent her back to Sasuke, and relayed the news to him. He only smirked, but looked quite interested. Naruto only stood there, waiting for Kakashi. He didn't have to wait long, but he asked Sakura when she came back with Sasuke. "Hey, Sakura. Did you memorize that jutsu I taught you?" Sakura nodded vigorously, a smile on her excited face. "Yeah, I used it to heal the injured during the Akatsuki invasion." "It works well for you." "Yes. Where did you learn it?" "From a very powerful sensei." Naruto evaded the question. "Who?" Naruto was about to say something when Kakashi came up and said, "Okay. Let's get started. Come Naruto, you two go near the tree line and wait." Sakura nodded and practically dragged Sasuke back with her. Kakashi only shook his head, and then walked to the middle of the clearing. Naruto followed his arms behind his head, a sign that he was officially bored. Kakashi stopped and turned to face Naruto. The boy stopped 10 feet away from Kakashi and waited, his arms still laced behind his head. Kakashi said to Naruto, "We will fight until one person either S or gives up. If you beat me, I will get Jiraiya to teach you a new jutsu, a powerful one at that." Naruto nodded, waiting patiently. Kakashi nodded back and stood there, waiting. Naruto stared at Kakashi and feigned tired by yawning and stretching. Kakashi fell for it, again and tried to hit Naruto. He only twisted to the left, and danced away, still stretching. Kakashi disappeared and tried to hit Naruto from the left. Naruto jumped up into the air and did some hand signs, shadow clone jutsu. A whole bunch of clones appeared and landed on the ground. Kakashi did a quick count and came up with 15 clones. Kakashi dug into his pouch and brought out a bunch of shurikens and threw them. He watched in satisfaction as all the clones disappeared, leaving an empty clearing behind. He looked around, instantly on alert, but he couldn't see anyone else around. Kakashi took one step forward when Naruto suddenly appeared in front of him and delivered a powerful punch to his abdomen. Kakashi doubled over slightly, but before he could retaliate, Naruto disappeared again. Knowing that Naruto was much too fast for his eye to follow, he lifted his Konoha bandana up a bit so his left eye was showing. Right then, Naruto decided to stop behind Kakashi and lace his hands behind his head. Instantly, Kakashi whirled around and kicked out, but Naruto disappeared again. Kakashi looked around with his Sharingan eye and picked out Naruto running left to right, repeatedly, in front of him. Kakashi grabbed a kunai and waited for the right moment to throw it. That moment came and Kakashi swiftly threw the kunai, hitting Naruto in the leg. He only laughed and disappeared, a log falling to the ground. Kakashi realized too late that that was the wrong Naruto he hit. Naruto appeared in front of a bewildered Kakashi and did a roundhouse kick to his face. Kakashi flew 20 feet, before arching slightly and landing, not quite gracefully, on the ground. Naruto grinned wolfishly and disappeared again. Kakashi got up and took a deep breath. The kid was fast, that much was apparent, but how was he able to catch him off guard? Kakashi thought for several seconds while he kept his guard up for Naruto's attack. Right then, Naruto attacked from behind, making Kakashi whirl around, right into Naruto's trap. The real Naruto snuck up behind Kakashi when he turned to face his copy Nin, and kicked him forward. This resulted in Kakashi being thrust forward and into the punch of the clone. Kakashi was thrown backwards 20 feet and was punched into the ground by Naruto. He let out a low moan before blacking out. Naruto walked out of the tree line and stood beside Sakura and Sasuke for 2 minutes before they realized he was there. Sakura practically jumped 5 feet in the air when Sasuke suddenly whirled around, revealing where the real Naruto was. Then his face turned into a look of awe and grudging admiration. Sakura looked positively happy and practically pounced on Naruto, offering her congratulations. Naruto said his thanks and walked up to Kakashi's unconscious form on the soft, green grass. He knelt beside him and checked for any serious damage, and when finding none, picked him up and carried him back. They all walked back to the village, but stopped just outside the gate to wake Kakashi up. Naruto left that job to Sakura. Sakura started off by nudging him in the shoulder, calling out his name. When nothing happened, she started to softly, gradually harder, his face. Not even that worked. Just when she was about to try something else, Naruto grabbed a kunai and threw it at a nearby tree, and was rewarded at first by confusion on the two nins' faces. Then the real Kakashi jumped down with Naruto's kunai in hand, a happy look on his face. You passed, Naruto. You must have trained hard to be able to defeat someone like me, you know. Yeah, whatever. Can I go now to learn this new jutsu? Sure. But you have to first train these two a bit. They, let's just say, lack in discipline and fighting techniques. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, and Naruto snickered. Kakashi could only watch as the two stared each other down, Naruto smiling like an idiot. Sasuke just smirked and looked away. Kakashi knew he was going to get a headache soon, so he said, I'll see you guys later then. And he disappeared in a whirl of smoke. Naruto grinned and said, alrighty then. Time for you two to get back to that clearing we were in earlier. And you have to run on the ground. No jumping into the trees, because that's the lazy way. Naruto thought a moment, then his face lit up in excitement. Oh yeah? And tomorrow, I'll have a present for you. Now get going. Sakura nodded and began to run in the direction of the clearing. Sasuke followed suit, knowing he would have to listen to the idiot if he wanted to get stronger. Naruto waited until they were out of sight, and then poured some chakra into his weights, making them 50 pounds heavier. Naruto immediately felt the strain on his newfound weight. He was a grand total of 525 pounds heavier. Naruto didn't complain and began to run. He soon caught up with Sasuke and Sakura and ran past them. They wondered why he was running with them, but decided to wait. He got there before they did and stopped to pretend to catch his breath. They finally came into the clearing and waited for a couple of minutes. Naruto finally stood up straight, wiping some sweat off his forehead before saying, I must test your abilities before the real training begins, so I will create 2 shadow clones and you will spar against them. I am warning you that these clones will not disappear when you hit them with something sharp. You are warned. He then did some hand signs and mumbled, advanced double shadow clone jutsu. And then 2 Naruto sprouted from the real one. The real Naruto sat down and gave some orders to his clones. They nodded and ran to the middle of the training field. Naruto looked at the pair and said, you will pick one to spar with. I will sit here and watch. Why aren't we going to fight you? Sasuke asked, smirking. Naruto looked at him with annoyed eyes and said, because that was a very advanced jutsu that just took most of my chakra and continues to. When you use that jutsu, depending on how many you make, your chakra will split into equal portions and put into your clones. The longer you stand here talking to me, the more chakra is drained out of me, now go. Sakura nodded and followed the order. Sasuke only looked shocked, but followed the order grudgingly. Naruto sat back and watched the fighting commence. Sasuke picked the one on the left while Sakura picked the one on the right. Sakura's opponent then jumped away and landed farther into the clearing. Sakura followed and soon, they began. Sasuke smirked and activated his Sharingan, which he got quite recently. He swiftly broke out into a run and tried to attack the clone, but it disappeared, only to reappear behind him and deliver a kick. Sasuke stumbled forward a bit and whirled around, throwing a kunai. It kept on flying, because the clone disappeared. This time, Sasuke jumped out of the way of an oncoming attack and tried to lash out with his leg. The clone caught it and twisted it, sending Sasuke flying several feet away. Sasuke caught himself and stopped, his hand and left leg buried in the ground to stop himself. Sasuke decided on close combat and ran at the clone. The Naruto clone knew what he was trying to do and met him head on. They exchanged blows, but Sasuke had the upper hand in the battle, since he was able to almost predict his next moves. Soon, the clone began to lag and grow slow, allowing Sasuke to effectively gain the upper hand and blow him back several yards. The clone landed heavily and didn't get back up. Sakura's battle was worse. She couldn't hit the clone no matter how hard she tried. It kept disappearing and reappearing, hitting her with softened blows so she wouldn't be seriously injured. She tried many techniques and jutsus but she still could hit him. Then, quite suddenly, she was able to dodge one of his punches and hit him in the abdomen, sending him flying. She called out triumphantly when he didn't get back up. Sasuke heard her cry of triumph and right then, they disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto appeared beside them, offering his half-hearted congratulations on defeating them when they were so easy. This got them glaring at him angrily. What? They only had a 20th of my power in them, plus I was extremely tired, so I couldn't hold them any longer. That's why they slowed down and didn't get back up. He explained. He smirked then and turned around to run back to the village with them. They followed him tiredly and when they got back, they noticed that he wasn't breathing heavily at all, which kind of unnerved them. Why the hell do you stink so much? Sasuke asked, plugging his nose at his stench. Naruto only faintly smiled, but quickly hid it when he said, you try having an extra 400 pounds added to your weight and not stink so much, never mind the fact that I haven't had a bath in a long while. This was rewarded with looks of pure shock. Sakura said, but Naruto-sensei, I thought you said that those weights you have on weighed about 25 pounds each. Naruto smirked slightly and said, I just recently added 50 pounds to each, making them all to weigh 75 pounds each. 75 times 8 equals 600, plus my own weight which equals up to 725. Sakura and Sasuke only looked at him in wonder. He weighed that much and he was still able to use that jutsu plus run without stopping. And they thought Kakashi-sensei was hard on them. Now hurry up and get back inside the walls, dusk approaches. Naruto said, turning around and walking away. Sakura piped up again, why are you leaving, Naruto-sensei? Aren't you coming inside too? Naruto stopped and said, I'd have nowhere to sleep. There isn't that much trees in there where I would be able to sleep without breaking the branches. You mean you sleep in trees? Sakura asked, totally flabbergasted. Naruto looked at them in confusion and nodded. Sasuke's eyes widened in disbelief and Sakura looked sad. Why are you guys looking at me that way? I've always slept in trees, or on the ground. It's not like there are beds just waiting for you out there. He mumbled a little annoyed out by the way they were looking at him. Come on, Naruto. You can stay at my house for tonight. Sasuke said, looking away. Naruto looked stunned, but nodded. Why would you want me to sleep in the same house as you? I am a monster, and everyone is afraid of me. Sasuke looked amused at this. Of course they are scared of you, idiot. You could take out all of our Anbu squads and not even break a sweat. I'd be scared too, but I have no reason to be scared of some idiot like you. This made Naruto laugh out loud, a look of pure happiness crossing his face for a moment, then disappearing as fast as it appeared, leaving them wondering if it was actually there in the first place. Okay, then let's go, it's getting dark, fast. After a bit, Sakura waved goodbye and took off. Naruto waved back and continued to follow Sasuke to his house, or rather, apartment. Naruto didn't ask which one it was but simply jumped up and into his room. The place reeked of Sasuke, so it was naturally his. Sasuke came in after him and asked, how did you know which one was mine? The place smells like you, so it's naturally your apartment. Naruto explained, touching his nose. Sasuke only smirked and nodded, walking into the kitchen. Naruto began looking around, seeing only one bed. He followed Sasuke and walked past what looked to be a room with a bowl-shaped white thing in it and a separate part with this metal thing near the ceiling. Naruto went in, curiosity rising. He first went to the bowl-shaped thing, sniffing around. He thought the bowl was for some pet to drink out of, instead of always having to have water put down for them. The water was cold, and Naruto stuck his head further into the bowl, almost touching the water. He gave a small snort and brought his head out. He then turned around and saw a bunch of knobs and such on one wall. He turned some metal things near the middle of the walls and immediately, some water came out of it. Naruto gave a small yelp of surprise, but smiled at his jumpiness. Naruto moved into the middle of the separate little room and he then saw a small little thing in the middle of the two handle things, so he pulled it out. A whole cascade of water started to pour on him. The water began to get hot in mere second and soon Naruto was screaming his head off, unable to get out. He was completely soaked and he kept slipping on the wet floor. Sasuke came immediately and upon seeing Naruto in his hysterical state, couldn't help it, he began to laugh his head off. Naruto began to scream for help from anyone, his heart racing from the sudden attack by water. Sasuke couldn't stop laughing, and tears were rolling down his face. He finally calmed down enough to pull a soaked and thoroughly scared Naruto from the shower. As soon as Naruto was out of there, he ran into the bedroom and sat in the corner, trying to calm down. Sasuke laughed even harder at this but managed to shut off the shower completely. Have fun, Naruto. Sasuke managed to gasp out, still laughing. Naruto gave him a death glare, but finally gave up and gave a meek laugh. Sasuke remembered the last time he laughed like this but it didn't bother him. What was important now was that he was able to laugh and enjoy it. He finally settled down and asked, "Can I tell Sakura about this? It's just too funny to keep to myself. No, I don't want anyone knowing about this embarrassing moment. What was that room anyway? Is it a training area for you?" Naruto asked, his voice slightly raspy. Sasuke chuckled at this and said, "I guess you never been to a proper bathroom before, have you? That's the room where you do your private business and take a shower to clean yourself." Naruto nodded, finally understanding. He sat there with Sasuke beside him for a while until his stomach began to rumble. Sasuke looked at his stomach and Naruto gave an embarrassing smirk. "I have to go, I need to find some food to eat." And he got up. "What do you mean? Go find your food and eat it. I've got tons here. You really have a cage full of rabbit?" Naruto asked, hopeful. Sasuke frowned. "You eat rabbit?" Naruto nodded vigorously. "It's not like there are supermarkets out in the wild, you know." Sasuke nodded at this. He got up and said, "Follow me, and I'll prepare something for you. It's not rabbit, but it will suffice for now." Naruto looked confused but followed. Sasuke led him past the bathroom and into the kitchen. He then told him to sit and wait. Naruto did so and immediately broke the chair he was on. That scared the heck out of Sasuke, since he wasn't expecting it. Naruto's cheeks turned several shades of red before getting up and picking up the pieces. "I knew that it would be a bad idea to come here," he said. Sasuke could only try to breathe. After a bit he said, "It's okay, Naruto. It's just a chair. I'll pay you back for it. How about, say?" Naruto took out a bulging wallet. 2,500 yos. Sasuke's jaw dropped. 2,500. Where the hell did he get that much? Sasuke only nodded and mentally shrugged. Naruto handed him the specified amount and put the still bulging wallet away. "Where in Konoha did you get that much?" he asked, putting the money away. Naruto just grinned and told him. Sasuke had to hold the look of surprise hidden behind his ever-present emotionless mask. Naruto smirked and put his still bulging wallet away. Sasuke turned back around and finished with their food. He brought them to the table and slid one to Naruto, and began to eat. Naruto only stared at the stuff in the bowl, recognizing the smell as ramen. He brought his head closer and sniffed again. Nodding once, he began to lap it up, tasting it. At this point Sasuke looked up from his food and, seeing what Naruto was doing, began to choke on his share of ramen. "You really are weird," Sasuke stated, handing a blinking Naruto a set of chopsticks. Naruto accepted them without a word and began to mimic Sasuke in its use. Soon, he had the bowl done and asking for another one. Sasuke told him how to make it and he went to bed. Naruto made another 5 bowls before walking into Sasuke's room and plopping down in the corner, fast asleep. When Naruto woke up, Sasuke was still asleep. He smiled slightly before getting up and jumping out of the window. He looked around for a while until he finally found the weapons store. There, Naruto walked in and began to look around. The storekeeper was a beautiful shinobi with her hair into tight buns on top of her head. She had beautiful brown eyes, but they were darkened when Naruto walked in. She looked absolutely pissed at something, but it wasn't Naruto's business, so he didn't ask. He gathered some kunai, shurikens, exploding tags and numerous other things and brought them to the counter to be paid for. The girl quickly tallied up the total and Naruto paid for it, his wallet still bulging. He left the shop before she could make a comment on his large wallet and continued to look for the clothes store. He found it quickly and bought some training clothes and, to his surprise, they had chakra weights in stock, so he bought some of those too. When he got back to the apartment, Sasuke was up and eating some breakfast. Naruto put down the bags he was carrying and joined him, asking him how he would be able to use the shower without getting K. They soon met up with an excited pink and red Sakura. Naruto cringed at her attire, it practically screaming out K me. He gave Sakura her training clothes and waited for her to get back. Sasuke and Naruto were already in their training clothes consisting of blues and blacks. Naruto was wearing a black muscle shirt and black pants, held up by a simple cloth belt. His arms were bare, which showed his weights off, but to anyone else who didn't know what they were, they looked like black rings. His hair was a blonde knotted mop on his head, but he had a black bandana around his neck if he needed it to cover his hair. He wore black combat shoes with some black painted metal as the soles. His pouch was located on his left hip and he had a weapon pouch on his right leg, and left forearm, just underneath the weight placed there. Sasuke was dressed the same, but he had his Konoha bandana on his forehead. He had blue designs on his black pants along with a baggy dark blue shirt. He wore his pouch on his right hip and a weapon pouch on his left forearm. He also wore the same shoes as Naruto was, but less metal on the bottom. When Sakura arrived, she was wearing a black long-sleeved shirt that was see on each shoulder to show some skin. Most of her hair was hidden underneath a black bandana with her Konoha bandana on top of it. She wore black capris with women's combat shoes. She also wore a loose, see on both sides, skirt over her capris that came down to about an inch over her knees. She looked noticeably and somewhat unearthly. She smiled to Naruto and Sasuke before he gave them their weights. They put them on in the designated spots and Naruto had them put some weight into them using their chakra. Sasuke made all his weights weigh 25 pounds each. Sakura's weights were slightly lighter, about 20 pounds each. Naruto gave them a small smile before putting an extra 25 pounds on his. Then he motioned for them to start running and they made their run to the clearing they were in yesterday. Yet again, Naruto made 2 shadow clones and used them against Sakura and Sasuke as sparring partners. Naruto himself went through his regular training exercise program, minus the sparring part. They made some improvements today but Sakura needed to form some more muscles and improve on her taijutsu technique. Sasuke only needed to improve his growing speed. They were both exhausted by the end of the day, but Naruto made them jog all the way back to Konoha. When they got back, Sakura asked, "Naruto-sensei, how come we have to leave the village to train?" Naruto caught his breath and replied, "For several reasons, but I am only going to tell you 2 of them. 1. By leaving the village, you are forced to be on constant alert of any approaching chakra signatures. This will allow you to heighten your basic senses the hard way. 2. I don't want anyone spying on my training with you 2 if I can help it. This will give you the element of surprise to your enemies." They both nodded, finally understanding. They began their training, this time, getting more and more battered and bruised. Several hours later, when the sun was about to set, 3 figures came in view, running tiredly. They were let in without trouble and Naruto spent another night at Sasuke's house. In the morning, they did the same thing, except Naruto began to teach them advanced taijutsu, something they worked at, non-stop. Sakura finally put her crush for Sasuke aside to focus on training. Was Sasuke ever pleased about this? Time skip, 3 months later. Once again, they were out in the same clearing, sparring against Naruto's advanced clones. They had gotten increasingly better. Sasuke had gotten the 2nd level of his Sharingan, and Sakura is finally getting respect from Sasuke. All she really needed to do was to leave him alone and not be a fangirl. Naruto conversed with Kyuubi a lot. The 9 Tails finally revealed some of his past to Naruto, but kept a lot back. He was contemplating on when he would take over the boy's body, but Naruto has gotten increasingly interesting. He actually has feelings for the pink-haired girl named Sakura. This brought forth an ominous chuckle from Kyubi, but no matter how hard Naruto tried, he could not get the reason behind the weird chuckle. The Chunin exams were coming up soon, and Naruto was not all excited. All he wanted to do was to learn the jutsu from the El Ero Sennin, and take his leave. But every day that he is with these two, he can't bring himself to even think about leaving. They had become the friends he never thought he would have. Now he was going soft and he beat himself up for it. One day, Naruto told his students to train in one of the training grounds inside the village's walls, because he was going somewhere. They looked at him suspiciously, but complied. Naruto turned back and headed outside the gates, making sure to make it clear to the guards of his purpose. Him not being officially part of the village, they had no choice but to let him do what he want. Naruto left Konoha in the dust as he moved with impossible speeds. His current weight was now over 2,000 pounds. This meant that he had 250 pounds on each, plus his growing weight of 160 pounds. That came up to a grand total of 2,160 pounds. He was going to a fast little bugger when he decided to take him off, that's for sure. He soon came up to another village, but that wasn't his stop. He continued on, straining his senses as far as they will go. He soon caught the unmistakable scent of bee. He veered to his right and made his way to the battle scene. There were at least 50 bee and about 100 more men surrounding a teenager, who was badly beaten. No tears on her face, just gashes and bruises. No part of her body was good enough to pass over if someone was to heal her. The men laughed menacingly and some were beginning to unbuckle their belts. Why are a bunch of cowardly men taking on such a small, innocent girl? Naruto asked to no one in particular, catching the men's attention. They looked over at him and sneered. None of them were shinobi, by the way they held themselves, and all of them had a pitiful amount of intent leaking out of them. They tried to surround him, but he was too fast and appeared beside the girl. She looked up hopefully before passing out. Naruto reached into his leg pouch and drew out a bunch of senbon. He threw them with unbeatable accuracy and speed that in mere seconds, they were all S. He kneeled down beside the girl and began to heal her, careful to not mess up. After that was done, he made a small fire and laid her down beside it. She looked to be about 10 years of age with long, red hair, the color of bee. Her clothes were torn and in several places and both her shoes were gone. She looked really cute in a way, but he had just saved her, and he needed to know if she was going to be okay. A while later, she woke up with a start, only to find her savior cooking some delicious-looking fish. Her stomach growled loudly in anticipation and she gave an embarrassed smile at his raised eyebrow. He gestured to the fish and looked away, on watch. She gave another small smile and began to carefully eat the fish. It was delicious. "What is your name?" she asked, after she was done. He looked at her then and gave a small smile. "My name is Naruto," he replied. "What is yours?" "Kira Axel of the Axel clan." She answered, a sad smile on her face. "Is your clan still alive? Do you want me to bring you back to them?" Naruto asked, his bright, clear blue eyes were watching her. "Yes, they're alive. But I don't want to go back. Those men who attacked me were some villagers that work for my family. My mother ordered me because my father is no longer alive and no one to protect me. I ran and fought him off, but was about to get raped." She shuddered at the thought. "Until you came along and killed them. I humbly thank you." Naruto nodded and studied her. "Well then. Where will you go?" "I know not. Nobody wants a clanless street urchin in their homes." Naruto only nodded, understanding. He was in the same predicament before, but not now. He thought for some time, until he came to a decision. "Come back to Konoha with me and the old man there will definitely give you a job and some place to live. It's your choice, and I cannot force you to do something you don't want to." She smiled a bit, and nodded. Naruto nodded back and stared into the flames, deeply in thought. She finally lay down and slept. Naruto was racing through the trees, Kira's limp form on his back. He was finished with his business earlier on, and now he was about an hour away from Konoha. She probably wouldn't wake up for a while, so he decided to carry her. Her wounds were all healed, thanks to him, and she was sleeping peacefully. He wondered why she was hated by her own mother. If she was truly from the Axel clan, she should have a fearsome bloodline limit. He'll ask her later, when she wakes up. "Kit, you need to hurry. I sense something is wrong. There might be an attack on that worthless village. Hurry up. Yes, Kyubi-sama. Naruto picked up his speed greatly and raced for Konoha. It only took him 15 minutes to reach the gate, and another 2 seconds to jump onto the wall to see what was going on. There were a few fires, but only minor, and several battles were going on. Naruto made sure that Kira wasn't going to fall off and he took off towards the Hokage Tower. Once there, he entered the office and set Kira down on a chair. What are you doing here, Naruto? Who is that? The third asked, looking extremely disheveled. Hi to you too, old man. She is an Axel. They banished her when her father and I saved her from 100 men from raping her. Will you please take care of her until I get back? Okay. The attack that is going on is by Orochimaru, I think. You'd better be careful, he is one of the. He didn't get to finish because Naruto jumped out of the window. He sighed and rubbed his forehead, a migraine coming on. Naruto landed on the ground with grace and stretched his senses as far as he could. He stood there for several minutes and finally found a huge chakra signature coming from the eastern side. He smirked and ran towards them. When he got there, the Jiraiya, Sasuke, Sakura, Orochimaru, and several unknown shinobi were facing off against each other, or rather, staring each other down. Naruto entered the training field and everyone looked at him. Why did you start the party without me? That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.